We are now hearing from the White House advisor Kellyanne Conway saying that President Trump does want to meet President Xi Jinping. Of course, when it comes to the timeline, he also has to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This means that we could be seeing that meeting happen after the North Korea summit. Is a delay in the tariffs just inevitable at this point?
Well, I don't think it's inevitable, but I think it's likely. I think this week when Ambassador Lighthizer is meeting with his counterparts, I think as long as they make enough progress that Ambassador Lighthizer is able to report to President Trump that the Chinese are negotiating in good faith, I think it's more than likely that the tariffs will be delayed and there will eventually be a summit between President Xi and President Trump.
So, John, what will be the minimum needed here in terms of a deal to keep both sides happy and also allow them to save face?
Well, that is, it's unclear, frankly. Ambassador Lighthizer has been a critic of the Chinese trading actions and policies for a good number of years. So I think he goes into it with a fairly skeptical view, but I think a constructive approach to finding a deal so that he can report back to the president that there's enough movement here that it justifies a meeting between the two leaders.
John, given that we talk a lot about Beijing's power in terms of it being a centralized economy and being able to react very quickly to the domestic slowdown, how effective in terms of leverage are using tariffs?
Well, I think the president concluded that the U.S. had no leverage. President Obama certainly raised many of the same issues that are being raised now. But without any leverage, there was very little movement. So I think the president concluded that tariffs were necessary to get leverage. And I think between the concerns about softening economies and the tariffs themselves, I think have created at least a potential landscape for a negotiation.
One of the areas that I find it kind of most challenging, I think, if you think about what a potential compromise would look like, is a complete fundamental shift in China's industrial policy and its ambitions when it comes to technology and China 2025. Do you realistically see some sort of resolution or longer-term détente being formed on those issues, given that they're so fundamental to Beijing's ambitions?
Well, I think as your question suggests, I think, there's unlikely to be fundamental structural change, but I think there needs to be some changes in behavior that I think can be expected on the U.S. side, and certainly Ambassador Lighthizer will expect. So I think there's unlikely to be a complete renewal of the relationship and all concerns being addressed. By the same token, I think without some meaningful progress, I think these tariffs will stay in place and could escalate.